everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a Japanese style night market in Animal Crossing New Horizons. Now, if you're just not sure where to begin, or if you're just looking for some inspiration, this is the perfect video for you. Now let's get started. So these are all the items that I used to create the night market. As you can see, I have lots and lots of soft serve lamps, lots and lots of things that light up so that it looks really pretty at nighttime. And you may also notice that I have a lot of wooden stalls. I think I crafted about 33 wooden stalls for this entire night market. The reason I have everything laid out like this before I actually begin is so that I can see how everything looks next to each other and I can make sure I put the stalls where I want them to be. The next step is terraforming your cliffs. I'm going to be going over the measurements that you're going to need so that you can get started. So you're going to want to build 2 cliffs that are each 22 squares long, 5 squares wide, and 6 squares apart. The first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you have a big chunk of land to work with. So what I did here is I went ahead and I flattened out this entire back part of my island because I thought this would be the best part for it, but as you can see, my planning wasn't the greatest. I'm not the best at doing this, so I kind of failed the first time, but it's okay to make mistakes. No big deal, you could just go back and fix it again, but you guys can definitely learn from mine. So as you can see, I flattened out this big area, but I didn't measure properly. I didn't put the cliffs where they were supposed to go. So once you figure out where they want to go, then you can start building them there. What I should have done in hindsight was dig some holes as guidelines. Maybe not just for this section, because I obviously didn't measure properly. As you can see, I have to fill in the river here, but maybe dig the holes. I should have dug the 6 holes across, the 22 holes long, and the 5 holes wide, just so that I could get a perspective going before I actually started building the market. Okay, so here I actually have my measurements figured out, so this is where the real stuff gets started. So I wanted to build the edge first, so I started off right here by doing the 5 squares wide for the first cliff. And I made sure that was exactly where I wanted it because I didn't want to terraform the whole thing and then take it down because I didn't like it. I took out my shovel, dug 6 holes in the middle here to go between this cliff and the second cliff I'm going to build. And then I just went ahead and built the 5 squares wide for the second cliff. Again, just so that I could kind of visualize and get my measurements before I start building long ways. So here I'm just gonna fill in the cliffs fully on each side, and once that's finished, this is what it's supposed to look like. The next step is to fill in the middle of the cliffs with whichever path you would like. You can leave it as grass, you could pick a stone path like I did, you could pick the wooden path, or any custom path that you find online. And now that that's finished, I'm just gonna run up and down to make sure this is for sure the path that I want, and I'm pretty happy with it. So now we're gonna get to the fun part. And by fun part, I mean tedious part. This part definitely takes the longest, but I'd say it's the most fun. So as you can see, I laid out all my stalls, and the reason I did that is so that I could pick them up and put them down in the order that I want them, because when you have them in your inventory and you put like a custom design on them, it's kind of hard to figure out which is which. So if you pick them up in the order of which you want to put them down, it makes it so much easier for you. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. I'm going to pick up my stalls in the order of which I want them, and then run back over and just put them down and space them out. So this is what it should look like when it's finished. This is your first row of stalls. This is me realizing that I didn't have enough for this row, so I just took some random ones from the top row that I was going to use to fill in these spaces. Again, learn from my mistakes, do some better planning than I did, make sure you have enough stalls. Next, you're going to want to grab the accessories you've picked out to fill in the spaces between the stalls that you've just put down. And I definitely recommend picking a lot of items that light up, just because it makes the market look so pretty at night. You might be wondering, why so many jukeboxes? Well, number 1, because they light up, they change colors, and they look super cool. And number 2, because I want spring blossoms to play as you go through the market. That's one thing that I like to do throughout my island, is put music players down all over the place so that each section that I have has a different vibe to it. So now that I've finished putting everything out, this is what it looks like. Now I'm going to go ahead and start building on the cliffs, so I've just come back over this way and grabbed my stalls that I've laid out in the exact order that I want to put them down, and I'm going to start putting those on the second set of cliffs. And again, once you've finished organizing the stalls up here, you're going to want to grab some more of your accessories. I grabbed a lot of soft serve lamps and other things that light up again because I want it to look nice at nighttime, and I just filled the gaps in between the stalls. This is what it looks like with both layers done. We've got the bottom row of stalls and the top row of stalls on the two cliffs that I built. Now you're more than welcome to leave it like this, but I'm going to build a third layer and I'm going to show you guys how to do that in a little bit. Now before you go ahead and build the third layer, I would say that this is the most important step you have to take before we go even further. Right now I'm just gathering a bunch of accessories that I have that I want to put on top of the stalls that I already have out. So I have just little things like kettles and like cream and sugar, and a lot of the items I used are actually craftable items such as the unglazed dish set and the pot. So I'm going to grab those and start placing them out on my stalls just to give it a nicer appearance. So the reason I said that step was the most important step before you started building your third layer is because we have to build another cliff directly behind the second layer of stalls that we just placed. Now with this cliff in the way, you can't actually go in and add more items unless you destroyed the cliff or you moved some of the stalls underneath and climbed up and added more, and that's just kind of a pain in the butt, so it's much better to just get all those items on your stalls before you start building the third cliff. Now with this third cliff, you're going to want to make sure it's at least 3 spaces wide, which is why I initially started at 5 squares wide with the first cliff, so that you have room to get up there and place the stalls and accessories, and so that you have room to work. Now that you finish your third layer of cliffs, it's time to fill in that space. So what I've done here is I've used some stalls, but I used more items such as fortune cookie carts, cotton candy machines, and popcorn machines just to fill in the gaps. It doesn't really matter too much if you have lights up here or not because you don't really see them, but I feel like having this third layer just adds to the market and makes it look busier. Once I've made sure I'm 100% happy with the items that I've placed on the third cliff, I'm going to go ahead and start destroying it. Now, I say make 100% sure that you're happy with what you've put up there, because if you're not and you get down and you start destroying this cliff, you're going to have to re-terraform it again, which is a huge pain in the butt and just not necessary. So make sure you're happy with everything that you have up there, and then you can go ahead and start destroying. And once you're done destroying that cliff, you could climb on down your ladder and start destroying the cliff that's underneath it. Now, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. I did just because I wanted the extra space on the sides of the market to do some other stuff, but if you want to put some other stuff up there, make it even longer, go right ahead. Now I'm just going to go ahead and do the exact same thing for the other side of the market. So here I am building the third cliff layer on the other side, and I'm going to do the exact same thing, put my stalls up, put my cotton candy machines, popcorn machines, and all that fun stuff. So this part was kind of a last minute decision that I made. I was originally going to put Nook's Market at the end here, but my measurements, again, horrible, and I didn't have enough room, so I decided to just put another section of stalls here to make it look complete. So I built my first cliff, climbed up, and I started building my second cliff. So once I finished building that small set of cliffs, I went ahead and started placing my stalls. I put 1 stall per layer, and I just started filling them up with accessories and putting other things out that I wanted, like some soft serve lamps. So that is what the finished section looks like. I added some soft serve lamps, I added some street lamps in the corners there, and I also went up there and added some Zen fencing because I feel like it gave it a closed off look. And this is what the whole market looks like with everything put together. Hi Zucker! Sorry I made a takoyaki stand of you. So this is the finished product. This is what it looks like at nighttime, and I think it looks super amazing with all of these lights that I've put out. Even the jukeboxes really add to it, I think. My biggest inspiration for creating this was actually a night market that is in my community that I used to go visit every summertime when it opened, but unfortunately due to COVID-19 they aren't holding the night market this year, so I guess this is kind of my way of visiting the night market without visiting the night market, right? Well, anyways, I hope that you guys enjoyed, and I really hope this tutorial helps some of you create your own night markets. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up down below. I had such a fun time making this tutorial for you guys. And don't forget to subscribe as well. I'm going to try and post a new video each week. Thanks for watching.